Who the hell are these people? Oh my god, I don't know. They came out of nowhere. Well, one thing's for certain. I don't like them. They make me feel old. This is Jamie Cohen's extremely quick guide to web television and the problems with people not understanding who these people are. Web TV. It's a study that I've been doing since 2007. It's quite a long study because there's a lot to study. At first, it was like, oh, there's not much at all to really look at. It's like a kind of a sandbox. And today, it's an entirely different industry that makes people who don't get it really, really confused. And it doesn't show itself any better than the other night when the Teen Choice Awards came out and it showed E! Online asking, seriously, who are these people? They didn't know who these people were that were there, and they were vloggers, they're YouTube personalities, and they didn't get it. And so they made quite an awkward moment with Grace Helbig, one of their employees, who they gave a show to, who comes from the internet. So what I'm going to do is a very, very quick roundup of web television and how it got to the place where it is today, so you can understand that when you watch Netflix, when you watch BoJack Horseman, or if you watch Wet Hot American Summer, you're actually watching web television. And it wouldn't be possible without some really great background stories. To tell the story of web television, we really have to go back before the birth of YouTube. While YouTube ushered in an era of free access to media creation, even before that, people were creating media. And so before the broadband era, what we were looking at was a lot of flash animation. You might remember some from Albino Black Sheep, like The End of the World. Or you might even remember flash animation like Homestar Runner. And if you do, awesome, good job, because that's where the Doge meme started. Flash animation was the way that web television was made because size restrictions kept a lot of the video versions of web video prohibited. In the late 90s, there were sites like Pseudo.com, and there were Morgan Spurlock had a channel, but a bunch of web TV did occur in the late 90s, but really the broadband era hadn't yet occurred, and people couldn't watch it appropriately. On April 23, 2005, the very first video was uploaded onto YouTube, and for the first year, they had to convince people to use it as an outlet, and they did. And over the course of the first year, people started dumping tons of copyrighted material onto YouTube, and it worked. People ended up putting so much on there that Viacom sued it for like $900 million. They ended up losing. But the point was that people found the outlet to be this extraordinary place to put video. In early 2006, creators, is what we call them today, creators started showing up and realizing that there was a way of bypassing all of the way of traditional media, where television required spec scripts, production value, crews, agents, managers. To get material onto YouTube, you just simply had to create it. You just had to make it and it would go online. Some of the earliest ones are Chad Vader, Day Shift Manager, and The Guild with Felicia Day. And most importantly to me, I think is We Need Girlfriends by Steve Sapellis, Brian Amiot, and Angel Acevedo. We Need Girlfriends ushered in a new type of character that was part of the Chad Vader, The Guild type of thing, and that is called the beta person. Beta people are the opposite, or the anti-Entourage, as Steve Sapellis would say. While Entourage was the most popular thing on traditional television, the web was ushering in an era of beta people. The people that you weren't exactly wanting to be, but they were the people that you could recognize. And more importantly than recognize as somebody who may be your friend, you could recognize them as yourself. A beta person is you. That's what you are when you're using the web. It's basically a little bit nerdy, a little bit geeky, and it's not something that you go around and brag, but it's something that you're proud of. It has a large pride behind it. And beta people inspired, or were, the people who were the early vloggers of the internet. So I'm going to use the case study of Tyler Oakley, for example. In 2007, Tyler Oakley, a freshman at Michigan State University, took to his web camera, just like I'm doing here, and started telling stories about himself. And at first, he didn't realize that people started watching, and then he saw hundreds of people watching it. He didn't understand where they were coming from. And it comes down to something very simple about the web. If you're interested in something, someone else is definitely interested in it. Tyler became an internet influencer by being somebody who was willing to talk about his own likes, no matter what it was, because it was important to him and him alone. He is a beta person to a T. He is an amazing version of somebody who isn't mainstream, but is somebody who can be trusted by his peer group. Today, there are over 1,000 channels on YouTube that make 6 figures a year from YouTube income. Over 1,000, 6 figures. And that isn't even close to what they actually make. Vloggers like Jenna Marbles, Grace Helbig, Tyler Oakley, Smosh, Ray William Johnson before he retired, they also had endorsement deals that would support them with extra income. So here's one for you. You know the Doritos Taco Bell Cool Ranch taco? Tyler Oakley kind of influenced that because they realized that something that he would say would help people want to buy it because they trusted him. Featured in the documentary Generation Like, Tyler Oakley is a media powerhouse of his own right because he comes from the web. Today, what we see is two different versions of a media industry. Web television is now something that's become formalized, a lot like traditional television, except it doesn't have the boundaries and rules of the FCC or the MPAA. Creators, even big-time creators, can come in and create almost anything they want or have the platform to experiment. Take Zach Galifianakis' Between Two Ferns, for example. Zach Galifianakis and his multitude of guests all know they're in on the game, but they're allowed to use the platform of a low-budget atmosphere where Zach Galifianakis literally sits between two ferns and interviews people, and the guests get to play and act their own way out without the boundaries of worrying about, well, we have to worry about what our agents say and we have to worry about this. They don't have to worry about that because the web is a playground that allows them to experiment with all different types of audience members. And that's what it comes down to, is that your niche audience is more important than anything. In 2007, I made a bet that by 2015, a web television show would win an Emmy. People were like, how's that possible? Well, in 2013, House of Cards won an Emmy. And that, you might say, oh, that's not a web television show. But it is. It's delivered to you via broadband. And it is a narrative fiction that was created in a space that isn't governed by traditional media. What we're going to be looking at in the future is the separation and connectivity of the two different media as they separate from traditional media platforms and enter a new world that literally merges with it. But in the meantime, we're going to see a very awkward phase where these up-and-coming YouTube stars, who you probably recognize really well, are going to become more famous than we could ever have imagined. And it's going to scare the people that are traditionally in the hegemonical structure of traditional broadcast. Variety did a survey among young teens and found that of the top 20 most recognizable stars, 10, half, were YouTubers, people who came directly from the web. And you can only imagine how crazy scary that is for traditional media outlets. So now here's how it's going. To transition into the business aspect of what the web is, we're also looking at things called multi-channel networks. And multi-channel networks are very interesting. They are many channels that team up and work together to profit share. And when they profit share, they're able to purchase new sets, new facilities, and new gear to help each other out for views and income. But these multi-channel networks are so big that a multi-channel network like Maker, which has PewDiePie under it, and PewDiePie is the most subscribed user online. He has 36 million subscribers, which means that every time he posts content, he gets more viewers than even the biggest shows, excluding the Super Bowl. That's how many viewers he has. But when you see something like Maker get together, people like Disney become interested in these thousands of channels that teamed up. And Disney recently purchased Maker Studios for over $500 million. And that means Disney is interested in these YouTube stars. And what that did was cause the open door to companies like Vessel, which are looking to hire YouTubers to make movie deals or television deals. And so in a gut reaction, YouTube is actually signing with a lot of their YouTube stars to make sure they stay in-house. YouTube spaces are popping up all over the world. The biggest, of course, are LA, New York, Tokyo. And what they are large rooms that even you have access to. You have access to it. All you need is something very simple. 30,000 subscribers. And you get a key. And that key opens the YouTube space and you can go and do your productions in there. It's an amazing business model that allows creators just like you to get out there and make in the creative space without having to worry about traditional rules or the roadblocks or the gatekeepers that were once there. That said, Tim Wu once said that all mass media were once open to everyone. And at one point, the master switch was pulled and it shut down the media for that. And what we're looking at now is a slow transition to that master switch. I'm going to implore you right now that you should get in on this. You should start recording these videos and get in on this industry because right now we're looking at the shift towards the more closed down version. You used to be able to make a custom URL for free just by having a YouTube channel. Now you need 500 subscribers in order to do that. So we could see the gates are being put up. It's only a matter of time before they put gate doors on it and they close it. So right now is your opportunity to get in because what's stopping you? Really, if you're creative and you have an idea, what is stopping you? Because We Need Girlfriends became known as the thing that inspired all the other web videos, and they spent $2,000 of their own dollars making the videos, and it became super famous. So please, get out there, make stuff, and become YouTube famous. And it doesn't matter what eOnline says, because screw them. It's time for the YouTubers to become the leaders, regardless of the fact it scares traditional media. And if it does scare traditional media, they're doing it right.